All right. Welcome. I am James Oliver Jr. Let me adjust this thing here since it's just me up here right now. I'm James Oliver Jr., a managing partner of Kabila Ventures, a new venture capital firm coming soon, CEO of Kabila, which connects overlooked founders to capital, customers, and co-founders, husband to an amazing wife, and co-founder of the world's cutest twins. Were you out there listening? Tell us where you're coming in from in the comments. Please share this on your social media channels to invite your friends to join the conversation. Also, as we get into this, please drop your questions in the comments and we will do our best to get to all of them. What am I excited about right now? Right now, I'm excited that we've given mental therapy grants to 14 founders via my Kabila Founder Mental Health Fund, which is a nonprofit. And in there, every week we pay for therapy for founders in our Kabila community, plus Port co-founders once we launch the fund. So what are we talking about today? If you're a founder, you know how hard it is to manage all the life and startup-y things. But what if having a coach could help you optimize both your life and your startup? So we have a treat for you today to answer those questions or answer the questions. Should every founder have a coach? And how can you pick the right coach for you? To help us with this, we have my friend Mark Feinberg and Luke Kujansky. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Luke, you could come on and tell me. You see you shaking your head. I butchered it. I apologize. You can tell me when I pull you up. So sorry, man. Mark and Luke have been multi-time founders, CEOs, and fractional executives across growth, operations, and finance, with multiple exits and experience scaling companies to over $200 million in value. They've seen the highs, lows, and everything in between. They shifted their focus to coaching after realizing how critical it is to have someone you can trust in all facets of life. So today they support founders and leaders through high stakes transitions with clarity, presence, and grounded perspective. All right, man. Welcome, Mark and Luke. What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
What's going
Good to
on?
see you, James.
Good to be seen and not viewed, man. You know what I mean?
Amen.
Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's see. We got somebody coming in the comments here. Good morning, James. Inside Connect here. What's up, y'all? We coming in from? I think they're coming in from Atlanta. So, Mark, that's that's Delroy. You met Delroy at our at our walk.
Hey there, man.
For the mental health walk last weekend. So we got Darian Mason. What's going on, Darian? Good to see you, man. Welcome. Love that. All right. So what the heck just happened here? I'm like talking, producing, doing the most with the least, man, all the time. So let's get into it. Like, what made each of you realize the importance of having a coach as a founder?
Luke, do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first. Let's go back in time. It's like 2017. I was CEO of a rapidly growing nonprofit and doing very transformational work in the community. And I was having a hard time shutting it off. Being, running the company, running the teams, community stuff. I was routinely working 12, 13 hours a day. I'd be home at 5, dinner, stuff with kids. Everybody would go to bed. I'd be up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, writing emails, solving problems. And for me, it was just like I didn't have any balance. And I enlisted the help of an executive coach just to start understanding what was happening, because I think that's a big piece that founders and leaders get into is stuff is going well, but it doesn't make sense and you don't understand the process that you're going through. So having a founder or having a coach that's there to say, hey, I've walked this before, I've seen this before, this is the pattern, this is what happens, helps you make sense of it. So then you can start addressing the root cause issues that are kind of driving you.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of that. Very similar. I mean, I'm a multi-time founder, entrepreneur, and then, I know this is near and dear to your heart, James, but I've had therapists over the years, and very, very helpful. But anytime I was with a therapist, they didn't quite understand fully the business side and the entrepreneur side and the founder side. So I set out to look for somebody who could create the space that I needed for me to process the challenges of being an entrepreneur and a founder, and could hold space for that, give me space to breathe. That wasn't a board member or a mentor, which is very outcome driven very often. And yet I wanted somebody who understood like the pressures of it all. And that's where a coach, became very helpful for me. And then, we'll get into how I ended up or how we got into coaching ultimately. But that's my thought on that.
All right, cool. So how is coaching different from having mentors, advisors, or investors?
Yeah, I'll jump in because I kind of touched on it. Again, like I think it's some of my lowest times thinking back, and loneliest times is when I didn't feel like I can go to the mentors or advisors or investors, um, because of the fact that they were so tied to the outcomes of the business. Like
Mhm.
I needed somebody who is tied to the outcomes of Mark. And, there's been over time where, whether I'm going through burnout or I'm not sure whether I was the right person for the job at various times. And those are things that you can't always feel comfortable talking about with mentors and advisors because you don't fully know, what's going to get back to the wrong person. And just knowing that there was somebody focused on me, and I didn't have that fear. Um, that's a major differentiator. Luke, I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
No, I think it's spot on. It's a coach is focused on you going forward, solving the problems that you're dealing with. They are they can be your somebody to lean on, somebody to help you walk through how to manage it. Focus really on your outcomes, your personal outcomes. And I think the other component of it is as founders, CEOs, leaders, it's not just the work side of it that's affected, it's also the personal side that's affected. And a coach, because they're focused on you, can look holistically at you. And maybe there's stuff at work that's affecting stuff at home, which compounds the issue, or there's stuff at home that's affecting work. And so there's just this wherever you need the crisis that's a root cause, a coach is able to help you walk in that versus only business or only personal. Like you're a founder, you're a CEO, they are connected, whether you like it or not. And how you show up at work and how you show up at home, you're one person. You can't just flip a switch and be different.
No, I 100% agree with that, and that's why the work that I'm doing with these mental therapy grants, I think is so important, especially as I launch my fund and doing that from our port co-founders, because I don't think it's realistic to expect people to go out and kill it, right? If they're not doing well,
That's right.
you know what I mean. If you're not doing well, you're not going to be able to kill it. And like you said, that it's all aspects of your life, which I think is a key point. So, what are some of the biggest internal struggles founders face that often go unseen?
I mean, for me, one of the big ones is just the pressure. It's on your shoulders. You can have a great team around you, and oftentimes you're still the one making the call. You're the one, trying to extend the runway, trying to get that first customer. You just feel that weight, and it compounds over time. And so, I can speak for myself. Early on, I had excess energy. I could focus. I leveraged that pressure and that stress to get some initial outcomes. But after a while, that pressure and that stress are not driving me to be my best. They were driving me into the ground, and I was getting unhealthier and unhealthier. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's largely unseen, and you have to, in this day and age, be, you're public facing, you're the voice of the company, you're having to be upbeat to drive things forward. So there's becomes this part of you that kind of gets boxed up and put in a corner, and you keep adding to that over time. And every founder has it,
Yeah.
but most founders don't deal with it. I know I didn't deal with it until it was near crisis level. And I think it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Mark Delroy says, "What's up?"
So, Delroy.
So a question for you, Mark. Like, what signs should a founder look for that it's time to actually bring in the coach?
Like constant overwhelm is a big one, right? Where like you literally can't feel like you could breathe. Um, where you're just completely overwhelmed, your nervous system's completely shot, right? I mean, they're in terms of like internal struggles, burnout is a big one for entrepreneurs and founders. So there are ways to manage life as a founder and entrepreneur where sure it's a lot of pressure and a lot of work, but there are, and that's part of what we do in coaching is providing tools and resources to help you manage that overwhelm and that pressure and either being already at burnout or helping you to avoid hitting burnout. So that's a big piece. A big one that's really hard, and I know I struggled with it, is like when you just stopped enjoying being in the business that you started, right? Like
Yeah.
there were long periods of time where, when I was talking to both my therapist and my coach, I'm like, I don't want to be in this seat anymore. Like I'm not enjoying it. And I felt very trapped and very lonely around that. So, that's a big one. You're making decisions out of fear and fatigue. And you've sort of lost sight of the vision. So those are some of the bigger ones.
Okay. Now that makes sense. So Luke Darian says, "What's up?" Um, so yeah, going back to something you said before, Luke, is I fancy myself as in the 99th percentile of persistent and resilient people on the planet. Just because I'm resilient AF doesn't mean I always want to have to be, because it's exhausting. Golly, you know what I mean? It's exhausting. So yeah, I totally agree with what you were saying before, Luke. All right, so let's. What are your top 3 tips for founders to find the right coach for them?
Top 3 is
Oh, you know what? Hang on a second. I skipped the question. I apologize. Let's go back. Can you share a story where coaching helped a founder shift their mindset or direction? That's a great question.
Yeah, I have one recently. I think it's the common story of founder, early success. Things are going great, lots of energy, happily working 80 hours a week. And I asked the question, something to the effect of, is this how you want your life to be? Is this like long term sustainable for you? And they said no. I'm like, okay, what's your ideal life? They're like, I want to get up when I have kids. I want to be able to make pancakes with them. I want to be there to tuck them in for bed. I want to coach their little league team. I want to do those things. I said, okay, in your current system, in your current pattern, do you have room for that? They're like, no, but once we get to point X, I'll be able to shift. And over time, we were able to talk through that shift starts now, right? Setting those boundaries,
Yeah, man.
going for a walk without your phone, turning off notifications on the weekends, those little habits um, that you build right now pay dividends later. Because what we know about founders, what I know about myself, is when things are going well, I just want to have my foot on the gas. I want to keep going. And so if things are going well, I'm going to keep doing that, and then wake up one day and realize oh, I missed a recital. I missed a game. And the shift with this founder was to start putting those habits in place now, slowing down when they're not at work. And it was a pretty instant transformation for them, increased connection with their partner, increased balance, more strategic thinking, uh, because we deceive ourselves into thinking that we can be high output 14 hours a day and stuff just suffers. So set those boundaries early, practice those things while you still can.
Yeah.
You dig a trench and move forward.
Yeah, and I love that. And so, Roderick, this is not who you were talking about, is it, by any
Nope.
chance? No.
Nope.
Oh, perfect. What a great little comment here. So, Luke helped me shift my mindset through one conversation, and now I'm feeling more peace in my life and the things I'm creating than I was before. That's perfect. That's kind of what we were just talking about. Well timed, Roderick. We appreciate that comment.
Thanks, Rob.
I mean, I think I was texting with you guys earlier. Maybe it was you or somebody else, but yesterday I deleted the LinkedIn app off my phone. I found myself just like addicted to the thing and constantly checking it. And, like the juice is not worth the squeeze in general, but especially now that LinkedIn has stopped showing people's content as much. So it's throttling my content. I'm not getting nearly as much out of it as I used to before. I'm like, why am I constantly checking this thing? I just feel stupid doing it like every 5 minutes, rushing to go reply because I'm a slave to the algorithm and it's still not doing anything for me. I'm like, this is stupid. Just delete off my phone. I'll check it when I'm on my computer. When I check it, whatever. Right. So yeah, setting those boundaries I think is really important for our own mental well-being. So spot on with that. Did you want to add?
Yeah, I wanted to add something real quick to that. Like one of the things that I notice in myself and others is that the checking of the socials and the emails or the Slack message is kind of, to me, a sign that you're a little bit dysregulated, right? You're wanting to stay busy. You're avoiding that pause, that quiet where you have to be with yourself. So anything that you can do to fill that and not to feel the other stuff, we're wired to do that. Like it's but it's not good. So
no, it's not good at all. So that's not why I do it. I can say, I think but so for me, it's different, but it's just as bad, right? It's constantly like I have a couple different projects I'm working on. All of them, I think are important. Like take the Kabila Founder Mental Health Fund, where we're paying for mental therapy, and Mark and I go back and forth behind the scenes about all the performances around Founder Mental Health, and it's just like, it frustrates you if you let it. It's all this like, yeah. But then when you're like, hey, we're doing this thing, and then it's like crickets, and you're just like, what the heck? So yeah, it's just like, hey, I'm trying to get traction and trying to get some pull versus all the push all the time, and checking for constant validation from social media. It's just too much and stupid. And I just deleted the thing. It's dumb.
Good on you.
It's just like, this is stupid, and I feel stupid doing it, right? So why am I still doing that?
Yeah, just real quick to add, and I don't want to go on this, but we do a pretty simple exercise with most of our clients. It's a, variation of a wheel of life type of exercise. Like, I didn't know, being an entrepreneur and founder, that there were other parts of life besides work. Like, I didn't know there were other parts of the wheel, whether it be relationship with my then spouse or relationship with friends and family, spirituality, health and wellness. And I certainly didn't focus on these other parts of the wheel and say, other parts of the wheel were important, because I didn't really have that perspective. I was so singularly focused on work. So a lot of the work we end up doing with entrepreneurs and founders is bringing them into awareness that there are multiple parts of a pie of life. And very often we don't sit down and say, where are you in this pie? Where are you in your relationship with your spouse? Where do you want to be? Where are you in your health and wellness? Where do you want to be? where are you in having fun and enjoying life? Where do you want to be? So, like, really working with founders and entrepreneurs to go through that exercise is a very eye-opening experience for our clients, and it helps them find or achieve, again, balance in the context of being an entrepreneur is hard to achieve, but at least it gets everybody kind of thinking about the various parts of life.
Cool. So tamethenoise.com is the website for, you can find Luke and Mark's work. And also, if you want to support the work I'm doing at the Kabila Founding Mental Health Fund, go to joinkabila.com today/therapy. You can learn more about what we're doing and become a donor to help us provide free mental therapy for founders. So let's see. If you guys have questions, please drop your questions. So somebody said, wait, what kind of coaches are you guys? Good question.
Yeah, I mean, we're business life coaches, right? So we're coaches for entrepreneurs and founders and high performance leaders. We sit at the intersection of business and life, and that we're able to help and assist and guide in areas of business, given the fact that Luke and I have the experience growing, scaling, exiting companies and organizations. At the same time, we've experienced burnout. We've experienced having to transition in and out of roles. We've experienced various health challenges, life challenges. So we bring a blend of different modalities to the table.
Yeah, and I apologize. My dog is over here growling at the UPS driver. It's so annoying. So I'm trying to get him to stop and get my wife to come get the dog. Sorry.
I think that question was by Darian. Darian, does that answer the question?
So this is an important point that Delroy is making here. One of the challenges of being early stage bootstrap founder is you don't really have money to pay for coaching services. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
Well, I think it's a common struggle. I know I faced that at certain times in my career where I wanted a coach, but we didn't have funds. A couple resources is most coaches have a sliding scale, especially for early stage companies where they're wanting to help. We understand it. Mark understands it. I've lived it as well, that don't have funds, but I need help. Part of our model is to make some slots available for early stage individuals so that they can have a conversation here and there, that they can start building it. That's one. Number two, I would say, is while funds are scarce in the coaching relationships that I've been in, both on the coaching as the coach and as the coachee, I've seen it again and again that a small investment in yourself pays long-term dividends in both your business and your life. And so there is there's this, I guess, trend out there that it's like the founder that's like, I'm not going to pay myself anything. I'm not going to do this. They deny all these things for themselves and say it'll be better later. When is it going to be better? When am I going to make that decision? So A, look for coaches that have sliding scales, and B, try to reframe that as not a nice to have, but I need somebody to be in the trenches with me. I need somebody to help me feel, because that's going to help me perform in the business longer.
Yeah, a good answer. So we have 5 minutes left, and I want to get to a couple quick things here. You mentioned about having slots. I know you guys have the this assessment. This if you could go to the Tame the Noise, well, it's not showing up. There we go. tamethenoise.com/strategic assessment on the website. Are you guys doing something in terms of like holding some slots back for people who can't afford it? I think, Mark, you said you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so what that is, it's coming in and working with founders and entrepreneurs and leaders and really aligning back to themselves and also aligning current strategy with their company. And while we're in there, there's some coaching work that's going on. So the price of that is around $2,500, but for people who are not in a position to pay that. There are some scholarships on an as needed basis. So if you were to fill out the form that's at that strategic assessment, we're connecting with anybody who fills it out, and we're spending time with anybody who comes through that form. We are and have and will continue to hold some slots for folks who aren't in a position to pay that.
So how does that work? Like, how many is that, and what's the determination? Like, how would that work?
Yeah, I mean, it's really on a case by case basis in the conversations that Luke and I have with the entrepreneur. So there's no finite number per se.
Okay.
So it's really, if it's something that you think you could benefit from, we're happy to get on a call and have a conversation and see where it goes.
Okay, perfect. So just visit tamethenoise.com/strategic assessment. Engage with the guys, and if you really need it and you can't afford it, it could be an opportunity to work with them around that on a scholarship basis, that's amazing. I love that you guys are doing that. All right. So we got like 3.5 minutes left here. Can you talk about the top 3 tips for founders to find the right coach for them? I think you talked a little bit about that, Luke, but just these 3 tips in these last couple of minutes, what would those be?
Yeah. My 3 are making sure they lived it, right? The highs, lows, and everything in between.
Making sure the coaches have lived it.
Make sure the coaches have lived it, right? There's, and I don't want to poo-poo anybody in the industry, but there's a lot of coaches who
I will.
Yeah, you can. I don't want to. Yeah, it's real important that they've been in the seat and highs and lows and everything in between. I have a strong opinion that they should have a holistic lens, not just business and performance and metrics, but life, right? Again, we talked about how intertwined life is to being an entrepreneur, relationships, health and wellness, and everything in between. So, finding a coach who is going to help you with the business side and help you think through difficult business challenges, but also incorporating the life part of things. And then just like with anything else, like make sure the energy's there, right? Make sure there's a vibe, make sure there's a connection. This is a very personal relationship. Like they're going to be on the inner sanctum of a lot of scary and dark and crazy shit, right? So you just want to feel very, very comfortable with whoever that coach is.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. So I don't even know how this happened, but he's a good friend of mine, but we fell into this de facto mentorship thing. So we used to meet more frequently, but now it's like once every 3 weeks or something like that. So I have a kind of a mentor. He's a coach, and I can honestly say those conversations have been extremely helpful because I'm doing all the things, but I can't see all the things.
Yeah.
And then what I love about him, you talk about the energy. I remember a couple of weeks ago we talked, and I just completely disagreed with what he was telling me, and I just pushed back hard on it, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think the exact words I told him, I said that what you just told me is, I said, I reject it completely.
That sounds right.
Yeah, but it's great. So we have that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And you got to have that kind of relationship. All right. So those were 3 things. We're at 45 seconds. Real quick, Luke, did you want to add anything to that?
Just on that last one, the vibe check of your relationship with the coach. Ask them and find out, are you just going to listen, or are you going to push me? Are you going to challenge me? What type of relationship, and be upfront with what type of relationship you're looking for with a coach, and ask them if that is something they'll do. Some coaches don't want to. They're lean more towards the therapy-ish thing of just helping you get to the realization. Some people like that. Some people want to be pushed.
I need both.
I think if we're being honest, we all do.
Yeah, no, I need somebody that's going to push me, and it's okay if we disagree. We got to be okay to disagree. But I just find that those conversations are extremely helpful to help me take things to the next level that I hadn't even considered, because I'm just too in the weeds with the stuff. Right. So, all right, this was great, y'all. Everybody, you can connect with them on tamethenoise.com. Check out that strategic assessment at the website. And, if you want interested, you don't have the capacity to pay, engage with them. And, there might be an opportunity for them to work with you on some kind of a scholarship basis, which is amazing. I love the give first mindset around that. If you know some founders in your network, please share this with them, tag them on this replay. We appreciate everybody. And hey, Luke and Mark, can you hang out for 2 seconds when I run this down real quick?
For sure.
All right,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to wind us down. Thank you so much for your time, Luke and Mark. We appreciate you. And we'll see you guys next time. Later.